Have I told you what I wanted to call this last episode?
What?
Maw of America.
Okay.
I found a better one.
Let's do an intro.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Jonathan.
You ready for the final level of Halo?
Oh, am I?
This is such a great video game ending.
Yes. And the horse that we rode in on, Jonathan.
Which is, in fact, a Banshee.
Well, it is in fact the Pillar of Autumn, I think is
what
that's referring to.
I know.
If you're thinking about the full scope of sort of the implied meaning here.
Look how beautiful this cutscene is. I love that skybox.
Yeah. So here we get this nice, full, sort of rounded conclusion to the first Halo game that we came in, crash landing on Halo on the Pillar of Autumn, and now, we're not going to be able to use it to get off of Halo, but we are going to be able to use it to blow the fuck out of Halo.
Indeed.
So it's an appropriate ending to, I think, a really just phenomenal campaign.
Yep. And as I said, I think one of the great last levels of any game ever.
Absolutely.
Even before we get to the crazy conclusion.
I love this little bit here.
We'll make it. Pull up! Pull up!
And smash the credits. Game over. Unfortunate. They just didn't have time to finish the last level. Oh, no, he's alive.
Nice.
Master Chief is a bit of a show-off.
He is.
Yeah.
That will get a callback in Halo 3.
If we don't make it,
we'll make it.
A lot of good callbacks at the end of Halo 3 to this one.
Here we start this level with the plasma rifle. Because it's the last level, so you have to get us off on a bad foot by giving us the worst weapon in the game other than the needler.
And this one is, I think, the best use of a repeated space, because you come back to the very beginning of the game, and it just looks so different and dilapidated. That's a nice remaster, although I think the original graphics hold up beautifully here.
Yeah, and I like the very dusty clouds. It's got a good sense of... It's almost like a Western or something that's coming back here. Finish what we started. Blow this thing up.
Yep.
See, there's something on my motion sensor. Do I actually know what those are? I think there are sentinels flying around the ship.
Okay.
Yep, there they are. That's why they give you the plasma rifle. Would have preferred a plasma pistol, but it'll do.
Yeah.
So yeah, with this being the last level, I guess now we can sort of finish the ongoing discussion that we've kind of dumped in every once in a while about the larger structure of the game and why I think it's really good. Is that, the first 3 levels are paired up together, and then the next 2 levels are paired up, and then the next 2 levels are paired up, and then you have these last 3 levels. So there's this really nice layering of structure to the Halo 1 campaign and the way that it mirrors itself, and there's always this very clear objective in each level that tends to evolve once per level and stuff like that. There's a good, clear design ethos to how the game is structured, both in like a per level basis and then grouping those levels together, and then also honestly like grouping the larger sort of thing by the halves of the first half is all the Covenant, and then the second half introduces the Flood. That gets the flow of the game so perfect. I think is one of the things that most first-person shooter campaigns really sort of fall flat on, is that they get incredibly stale at some point. Like Half-Life, I think, is a good example of a game that is really fun for the first half or so, and then just gets very tedious as they stop introducing interesting new elements, and there's not a lot of good evolution of the concepts of what you've been dealing with, and there's not a good sense of this larger structure that is informing everything.
You could say that game is a real Half-Life.
I'm trying to make I'm trying to actually talk about the game, and you're sitting here making the worst fucking jokes. Just the worst fucking jokes. I wish I could turn this fucking gun around and just punch you in the face with it.
I know, I do too.
Do you have any insightful, inspiring comments you want to make on the larger structure of Halo and how its sort of episodic structure helps propel the player through it while still being an 8 to 10 hour long campaign, or do you just want to sit here and make stupid fucking jokes, Chuckles?
Okay. Let me get back to, Yeah, no, look, Halo came out in 2001. It came out when the idea of console first-person shooters was still completely in its infancy. Like, the most famous one before this didn't have a fucking second stick, and that's GoldenEye.
Right, yes, yeah.
You know, you didn't have free aim. And for it to come out and do all the things it does well, and Halo does so many things amazingly well, and then on top of that, to have this structure that carries you through the game, no matter how many times you play it, and I don't think it ever really gets old. I don't think it ever gets less interesting to play. I think it endures all these years later when you look at examples of so many other first-person shooter campaigns that, we just kind of knee-jerk dismiss first-person shooter campaigns, frankly. And I think that's maybe changing now, because I think we've had a renaissance these last few years with, BioShock Infinite and Doom and Wolfenstein The New Order and some of these. But I think you go back to Halo, and part of why it endures is it had a sense of how to make a campaign feel meaty and have meaning and have a good pace and flow from start to finish in a way that I think for a period after Halo 1 was not done well in this genre. Yeah. Even in some of the Bungie, like Halo 2 is a mess for other reasons too. But I think if you look at the other ones where they very much tried to learn from it, Halo 3 and Halo Reach, I think very consciously echo parts of the Halo 1 design. And they're still not quite as good.
Yeah.
They're close. I think they're brilliant games. And ODST is a completely different thing, so that's one thing that's wonderful. But, that's what I would say on that, because I agree with everything you said about the structure of this campaign. But I think that is... It's not just that it's a good structure for its time, it still has lessons to teach us as this genre continues to evolve.
Yeah. I think because one of the things that's really important is that it's not a very story-heavy game. It's an action-first kind of game, as it should be. That's sort of the design ethos. Not to say I like the story of Halo. Obviously, I read 5 of the books or whatever.
Yes.
But there is something about when you're trying to pace something and pace a storytelling in an action-first kind of medium, it's really hard to do and it's really tricky to do. But it's particularly tricky to do when you have something that's not 90 minutes long, the way that a kung fu movie or something is going to have practically no story, but it's only 90 minutes. So it's it doesn't need a lot of story to support itself. A game like this, it's 8 to 10 hours or whatever. You have a lot of space to cover and a lot of space of time that the player is spending in this world, in this story, in these games. And so you don't want a complicated story necessarily for a game like this, but you do need a story that is layered in such a way in terms of its structure that it is effectively episodic in nature. It's effectively more like a TV show or something, and that's why you need these very distinct arcs of levels connected together and arcs within levels that you have a clear objective that tends to have a complication halfway through. The good example of this level is we are starting just trying to infiltrate, and then halfway through this level we're going to learn what we need to do to be able to blow up the Halo, and our objective slightly shifts and specifies to follow that sort of track. And so there's always this sense of what you're doing, why you're doing it, where you are in the world, because the story is layered and isn't just a sort of straightforward bop 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 bop, the way that I feel like most Call of Duty campaigns, for example.
There was a health pack back there you might want.
Okay.
Through that door on your right.
Right?
On your right, yeah. Through there. There's a little health pack for you. See, I'm helpful.
Sure.
No, but so you were just fighting through the cafeteria space, you know?
Which is the first time we got this assault rifle was when we were in here, and we came through that door. This is the door we came in through originally.
And when we talk about the backtracking, think about how this game is critically leveraging its aesthetics, because this space of the Pillar of Autumn, the first impression the game makes on you is these areas, and bringing you back here to the end has a real tangible impact, I think, of you think about how far you've gone on this journey. You think about all you've learned. You think about what kind of challenge you're going to face as you literally come full circle. That's just damn good game design, telling a story through aesthetics, through experience, through the way in those 8 to 10 hours you've marinated with these spaces. You've thought about them. And especially getting back here to the command room, which, is just an indelible image, I think, in gaming history.
Now it's been totally destroyed.
Yep.
Everything's on fire.
And now we come back to the first place we were.
He doesn't keep it loaded, son. We had to find ammo as we went.
I leave home for a few days and look what happens. This won't take long.
Cortana never seems really torn up about all the utter destruction of every human on the ship.
Well,
still very flippant.
They got a job to do.
Yeah.
And yes, this is the other thing, though, is that this is not a final level that kind of rests on its laurels either.
No.
And you think it might a little bit in this first part where you're just re-infiltrating the place, But now we're going to have this conversation with 343, and we're going to learn our new objective, and we're going to go to places on the ship we've never been before, and I really like the objective we're going to get here, because this becomes a very challenging, unique level. And so the game is, being inventive and creative all the way through to the end.
Yeah. I love this line that Guilty Spark has here. A record of all our lost time is another one of those hints.
You can't imagine how exciting this is to have a record of all of our lost time. human history, is it? Fascinating.
It's just one of those weird things. If you never know where this character stands, what he knows, how far gone he is, and sort of his insanity, they're very sort of like palpable lines and sort of strike the imagination of like what could he really like mean with this. And of course, when you find out the kind of stuff that they're meaning, it's like, eh.
Yeah, the Forerunner lore would have been more interesting if it had followed, I think, some of the hints here.
Yeah.
Or just kept in the background.
At least I still have control over the comm channels.
I mean, not that I want to beat up on Halo 5 too much, because
Sure.
we've beat up on it plenty,
Yeah.
but compare this campaign to the most recent Halo campaign.
Yeah.
And Halo 5, you're talking about, like, you have to have a light narrative that you can layer through. Halo 5 is the most nonsensical first-person shooter narrative I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because it's just this flood of bad exposition that makes no sense. Look how big that fucking grenade is.
Yep.
God. Anyway, love that.
I'm coming with you.
I'm coming with you. But yeah, like compare that, and that game just completely blurs in my mind. I couldn't tell you one level from another. I couldn't tell you a standout level. You know, I think Halo has had troubles in its history learning from its own past at different points.
I mean, most first-person shooters just don't manage to do this kind of structure that well. It tends to be the best first-person shooter campaigns tend to go for totally seamless structures that don't really define their levels. And that works well for like a BioShock or something like that. But that's not the same kind of game.
It's why I think we hold Doom 2016 in such high regard,
Exactly.
and why when we talked about that so much last year and do today, we reference Halo Combat Evolved, because as much as Doom is obviously in, it's inspired by the Doom games, of course, it also feels like early Halo and stuff like that was a huge influence.
Yeah,
on
because
that game.
like Doom 2016 is definitely a very different kind of game in terms of its larger structure than the original Doom from like 1993.
Right. That might be a good one to do Let's Play in at some point.
Yeah, that would be a hectic one in a whole different kind of way. I would do that. And again, we just have the bodies piling up, and it is fantastic.
Got our good drums here.
Yes, we are back with the human kind of music.
Love it.
You following backwards arrows all the way to the end.
Backwards arrows in my dreams.
There's probably some sort of like really deep, sort of very English major kind of essay I could write about like the symbolism of following arrows backwards at the end of Halo. I'm not going to try to do that here. But you could probably do it if you wanted.
And I'm not making any more puns.
Thank you.
Done with that. I think it went too far.
I mean, I think you making a bunch more puns, Jonathan, would be the doom of us. Ha! Ha ha!
Alright, so where are we going?
We need to go cause a wildcat destabilization of the ship's engine core.
Wildcat Destabilization would be a great name for a band.
It would be, yes. That just covers Halo songs. And man, those ones just blew me up real fast.
I would not be surprised if Wildcat Destabilization is an indie rock band that plays on Twin Peaks at some point.
Sure, yes. That'd be pretty good. Okay, let's try to get across this hallway before I blow up.
Nice
There we
jump.
go.
Picked up 14 rounds for your shotgun.
There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Checkpoint done.
Oh god, these fuckers.
Yep, more of these shielded sentinels. Yeah, the plasma weapons, very good for them. You have to be careful because those are when the sentinels blow up, they will hurt you pretty bad. You have to stay away from those fuckers. Okay, just come on. Yep, let's just come on. Just get on me. There we go. There you go. Sometimes you just, you just gotta let them clear themselves out.
Yep.
Ah, that shotgun sound. So here we are.
God, I hate the Sentinels.
They're real assholes.
And they are at their absolute least annoying in this game.
Yes, this is definitely like the most approachable and easily defeated Sentinels in the Halo games.
Which, frankly, I think is how it should be. I don't think they should ever be challenging.
No, because they're very simple enemies. There's
Yeah.
not a lot to them.
But there are definitely times in Halo 2 and 3 where you just want to break your controller with them.
Yeah. So you have some ladders here. Ladders, not a heavy feature of Halo 1.
But
they
I
happen
love how you
sometimes.
walk up them.
Yes. Or you can just hang here. So again, you know, I've mentioned this in another part, but if you want to just, you know, really piss someone off, you can just hang out in the base in Sidewinder if you're playing Capture the Flag. Just hang out there with a shotgun or rocket launcher or something and just be halfway up the ladder, and basically no one can see you when they come in. You can see them, and you just fuck them up. It's very good. I feel like your arms would get very tired, though, just hanging out on this ladder for hours.
I think the Chief, like, magnetically connects to the ladders is how it works. Based on how he goes up them. He doesn't use his arms.
Oh, that's... Okay, fair enough.
If you see it
He's got very powerful legs, though, so...
Yes.
Doesn't need any arms. He doesn't need to balance himself. He's the Master Chief. Not that way. Not that way.
Not that way. That way.
This way.
Left.
Yes. Back through these weird little tunnels. And
Don't know what they're for.
It's probably like some sort of like maintenance thing.
Yeah. Oh, one random
Hey,
grunt.
buddy. What are you doing?
Is that Yip Yap?
Hey! No, this is not Yip Yap. Please, get his name right.
I'm gonna call him Yip Yap because I think it's a funnier name.
Okay, I think that's very disrespectful to our little grunt friend. But no, he's later. I'll point him out.
Okay.
It'll be fun.
I'm excited for it.
Ooh, there's hunters somewhere around here. Yeah, this is a pretty big fight where it's sort of reusing some of this, like, tunnel thing that you can come in on different entrances, but you don't quite get a
Well,
good
again,
one
like,
to get
the
on
full
with.
circle element of it is, like, this was challenging in the Pillar of Autumn, but now you're a much better player.
Yeah,
at
but
this point.
they have taken away a lot of your
Yes.
extra tools because you can't get right behind them the way you could the first time through. You can, I think if you can shoot these guys through the... Yeah, you can kind of damage them through the window for whatever reason.
Well, plasma is superheated gas, so it can pass through the solids.
That's not how that works.
Okay. I'll leave the science to you.
Thank you. Fucking camels and water and bullshit.
Well, that's a deep cut. That was like episode 2 of this thing.
Episode 3.
It was? Okay.
Yes, I remember specifically. I was so appalled by your lack of knowledge about camel physiology. Disgusting.
I'm sorry.
Disgusting ignorance.
That was also a black elite it looked like there.
Yes, these are all Special Forces guys now. These are all the most powerful Covenant enemies in the game. Because it's the last chance you have to fight them, so you need to throw the big guys at you.
Sangheli Team 6.
Sure, yes. Basically.
You still tear through them like paper.
But now you can see we're following the arrows the right
yes,
way
the armory.
because we have found our motivation or something, so the arrows are pointing us towards yeah. Armory. Guns.
Alright, here's the armory. I love this area.
Yes.
You can get whatever the hell you want.
You can. It also highlights that, like, there really aren't that many guns in Halo 1.
No.
So it's like there are a lot of assault rifles in here. And you never take an assault rifle. Yeah, the weird invisible flood that come in. So you can't just hang out in here forever. Because they will just keep on coming in. It's kind of weird. Never really understood it. But all I need is a rocket launcher and a shotgun, and we're gonna take care of this bitch.
Let's do it.
Let's wildcat destabilize this sucker. I don't think Cortana has actually said that line yet. I don't remember if that was in the last conversation, if that's coming up. I think it's coming up.
Run away.
Yeah, it's good advice.
Located. We're here.
Yeah, so like you said earlier, this is basically the last time we have a big sort of on-foot sequence is this. This is one of the nice things about Halo 1 is they basically decided, you know what doesn't work that well in, like, straightforward shooter campaigns? Big boss fights.
No, boss fights are awful.
Yeah.
Boss fights are awful in almost all scenarios, especially in first-person shooter campaigns.
Yeah, so instead they decided, let's have, like, this interesting sort of dual objective of you have this, and of course we have the famous Warthog sequence following it. But this serves as a fun ramp-up of
Yes.
different enemies, and as you complete each one of these...
And it's a different kind of challenge, because you also
Yeah.
have to figure out, okay, how best am I going to blow these reactors? Do I use the rocket launcher, grenade? You know,
Yeah.
the first time you play it, it can be kind of challenging to figure out the timing and everything. I love it.
Yes, it's a great, like, just sort of distillation of what's fun about Halo, because it's not just you're in one room fighting off waves of enemies, you're, like, having to move around this environment and tackle these different objectives. And each time you tackle an objective, the enemy waves become harder and harder.
Do you think this is the best final level in a Halo game?
Halo 3's got a really good one for, especially the story stuff.
Sure.
Halo 3 is really great, but probably.
I would say this, or if I'm thinking about, I actually think ODST also has a great final level.
It does. Yeah.
Where you're going down the highway and then you have basically a firefight. That one's great. Generally, they're good. I also like the last one of Reach because it's a crazy challenge, especially on Legendary. Halo 2 has a horrible final level, but that's Halo 2. I don't remember the end of Halo 5.
I don't either.
Well, there's a boss fight, because there's like the 6th fight with Mr. Forerunner guy, whatever he is.
Yeah, so you see I just used a pro strat that you can get back up here.
Yep.
Yes, wildcat destabilization, you just said it.
Fusion reactor number 1 destabilizing. Use explosives on the other 3 reactors. That should be enough to trigger a wildcat explosion of the engine.
Wildcat explosion, okay. She says wildcat explosion, not destabilization. She does say destabilizing about 500 times, though, in the preceding dialogue. Don't know what a wildcat explosion is either, though.
That sounds more like a sex move.
Sure. I mean, it sounds like a fake sex move.
Yes.
Like, hey, baby, you want to go home? Try some wildcat explosion.
I'm gonna trigger a wildcat explosion.
You baby girl.
Got it. 2 down.
Yep. Oh, and bounced off that edge. That's one of the weird things about the jumping in Halo 1 is if you hit an edge, you don't have a lot of air control, so you sort of bounce off it and slide off of it.
And now we are way back.
Yeah, I can... This is not going to take me that long.
Oh boy, how are you alive?
I knew that I would survive.
Okay.
I just have to go, oh god damn it. I'm done fucking around.
Alright, so we've got 2 down.
On to the second half.
Alright, 2 to go. Let's do this, Sean. Nice.
Up. That almost pushed me
you
off.
can do this, you can do this. There we go. The Chief has got this.
Yes. You just gotta get those crouch jumps and not get caught on those angles.
Keep it up. Only one
So,
more
on
minute
Heroic or
to
Legendary,
go.
one of the hardest parts here, this is actually, I think, where the Sentinels are most annoying, because you have
Yes.
so many other things you're trying to do, and you probably do not have a weapon set that is best for them, because
No.
you have other concerns at this point. But we did it!
Yep.
The engine's gone critical.
Based on the current rate of decay, we should have 15 minutes to get off the ship. We don't have much time.
And the time limit changes depending on the difficulty, right?
Probably. I'm not sure.
Okay.
There's a service lift at the top of the engine room. It leads to a class
Service
7
lift. I don't actually remember where that is.
runs along
I think you have to
the
go
dorsal
up.
structure.
Probably, yeah.
I was right.
Yes, there we go. Gives you that little waypoint. So I think we're going to be meeting up with our good friend Yeah pretty soon here.
Oh, I'm excited. Oh, is he the guy in that? Okay, we'll just see.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it for the kids.
We just got to get to the service elevator. Surely nobody's going to be here, though. This is just a service elevator.
That would be patently ridiculous.
It's convenient that that door just exploded because it was locked. Oh my god, who are these guys? Oh no! Oh god, I'm actually going to blow up here. And that was Yeah.
That was Yeah?
One, not the elite. The elite that killed me, that was the guy he's Yeah-Yap's captain. But one of these guys...
Is Yeah.
Yes.
So that's his story in Halo the Flood by William C. Dietz, is he just goes through the game until he gets blown up by the Chief.
Yeah, like, I think I maybe expedited the fight a little bit this time because I had my rocket launcher. But yes, either this might have been Yeah-Yap, this might have been Yeah-Yap, or this might have been Yeah-Yap. You know, I know this sounds really bad, but I mean, they do look the same to me. So.
Yeah. Well, you're only human.
Echo 419 is still out here somewhere.
Not for long.
Well, I think we should be fine. I mean, she's Fohammer.
Yeah.
I only wish we could have, reconciled with Yap or so that Yap and I could have been friends and gotten out together. Now that I know his story from Billy Deitz's Hail of the Flood.
Alright, so we got this little warthog bay.
Yes.
First time you played this game, and you started to realize what they were going to do here. How cool was this?
I mean, it's fucking awesome. It's such a great way to end this game. It's one of the great sort of, things you get. And yes, the time limit is definitely different based on the difficulty, because I have 6 minutes. Although that 6 minutes is going to change at some point. But the great advantage of having all the vehicle stuff in Halo is that you're able to have a very different kind of last level than other games, that it's not just wave after wave after wave after wave after of enemies. You get a leverage this sort of racing kind of thing you have, and it's just a time limit. Get the fuck out.
Is the ending so nice? They basically did it twice.
Yes.
With Halo 3, although in Halo 3 they make it sufficiently epic.
Yeah, it's a little bit of bigger scale that time through.
But God, this is just, it's still so cool. Of just getting a Warthog and get to the fucking end. I love it.
It's just exciting, and it's such a better solution to the end of a game like this than how most games go. Because endings to games are typically very bad. I think they're very hard to do, both in the story way and in a gameplay way. And I think Halo just finds the right balance.
Absolutely.
Of something that, it's fairly challenging, but it's not annoying. Because that's one of the ways that, last bosses in most first-person shooters are just fucking annoying to play. Like in Halo 2's last boss, or Half-Life is
they also feel anticlimactic because that's not what the game was.
Yeah.
And the thing about the Warthog race here at the end is that there are Warthogs, there are other vehicles. You're not suddenly becoming a different game in the final moments.
Yeah.
Which I think, because first-person shooters aren't built around boss fights, that's often how it feels, that you're either becoming a different game or you're just doing basically a horde mode kind of ending, which can get very dry. This is not that. This is taking something that you know well from the game,
flipping it over,
sure, and then just making it bigger, and I love it.
Yeah.
And it is so epic and fun. And then we're going to get a very, I think, emotional moment coming up here in a minute.
Yeah. And
that there's also this sense of just acceleration to it, of the situation is pretty bad. It gets worse as you go through. And it's just such an epic action movie ending when we get to the point where the Chief is going to jump out into the ship. It's great.
Yeah. It's just a classic sort of conclusion to a game.
And there's also, I love there's so many routes you can take through all of this. Some good, some bad. None of them necessarily easy, but, you can go straight up the middle, you can go down the sides, you can go up and down the ramps. It's an interesting, space they also made for the run here.
Ram this guy, push him out of the way.
Flip a little bit, but...
We'll flip. That was just a trick. That was just a dope trick I did. Flipping through the air, jumping out of the Warthog and get back in.
What can we say? The Chief's a daredevil.
He is.
And a show-off. Dangerous combination.
Here we go. So this is where Foehammer's going to meet us. Just right here.
End of the game. We did it.
Yeah.
All we got to do is hold our position.
In fact, I'm so confident we're going to make it out of here that I'm just going to get in here and just check this out. This is cool. You can look at this thing. You can, wait, what's going on?
The music's getting sad, Sean. I'm worried.
What? Oh, no. Oh, that Banshee blew up. Oh.
That's Foehammer.
She's gone. Calculating alternate escape.
Let's get the fuck out of here then.
And this is where we get the main theme for this final run. Oh, it's so epic.
We move now, we can make it. I mean, we've got 3 minutes. We could probably stop for, a sandwich or something, but...
The Chief goes back to his quarters, gets his diary.
Yeah. Dear Diary, today I blew up a galaxy-destroying super weapon. Or as I like to call it, today was Tuesday.
Chief has a very eventful life.
Get all these guys trying to run away. Unfortunately, they don't have driver's licenses, so they can't drive Warthogs, because they would just get pulled over. So
that's true.
It would just be irresponsible. Music.
So good. At top speed, we should be able to clear it. Yeah, you are going to clear it.
orchestra sting there is very good.
Yep. Uh-oh. Oh, you didn't get hit by it.
Yeah,
That's good.
fine. You definitely can't get hit by it, though. That is a legitimate concern.
Uh-oh.
Oh, drive, motherfucker!
That was great. And literally everyone you're driving past is going to die a fiery death in about 1 minute 43 seconds.
And literally everybody I'm driving past fucking deserves it. So, you know.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
One time I was playing this on co-op, and we were like, it was like Legendary or something, and I died through this run, holding back while Thomas was running forward, so he got in alone. So it felt very dramatic.
Nice.
Like one of the Master Chiefs made it, and the other had to stay behind to fight off the enemies. And here we go.
Here we go.
That's Halo.
The longsword jet fighter, whatever the fuck this thing is called. Something like that.
We're cutting it close.
Actually, we had like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It was, you know, it's on normal. It's not that hard.
Here we go.
The Chief is so badass. We haven't talked enough about how cool his character design in this game is. You know, it gets more detailed. I love Halo 1 Spartans, and especially just the Chief. He looks so cool. There's a reason we got a Chief helmet in both of our rooms 100% of our time.
And this is the part where if you beat this on Legendary, you get an extra little clip of Johnson and the Elite looking each other soulfully in the eyes as they realize what's about to happen and embrace.
Come here, you mother... Oh, this is it, baby. Hold me.
And we made it, and now we're gonna get a great
Yeah.
image here. I love this.
Yes, as the ring explodes.
And I love there's one piece that comes out,
Shut them down. We'll need them later.
and that's it.
Yes, this is the conclusion to our first ever Let's Play series, Jonathan.
Yeah. So Halo Combat Evolved. Any final thoughts as we watch this last cutscene play out?
This is a hell of a fucking game, man. Like, it's the first time, me playing it through here with this feature is the first time I've played it in a couple of years, probably, like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And it still, I think it absolutely holds up. I mean, obviously, there's a nostalgia factor for it for me as well. But I think the things we've talked about in terms of the combat design and the level design and the storytelling and everything, it just is a game that has a lot of impact, and the campaign is still fantastic.
Indelible masterpiece.
Yes.
All I want to do now is play it myself, but I'm gonna have to edit it all and watch you play it again. Love this here with Cortana, kind of justifying what they just did.
We had no choice. Halo. It's finished.
And as many Halo games will, it ends with the Chief and Cortana alone together.
Yes. The Chief taking off his helmet, and you don't get to see it unless you play the PC version, where you can take control of the camera and see that underneath the Chief's helmet is the Chief's helmet.
Oh.
And it's a pretty great little clip.
Nice. Well, that's Halo. Sean.
Yes. Pan up. I love this little bit of music here, the bass here.
That's a video game, my friend.
It's a hell of a fucking video game. It's as good today to me as it was in 2001.
I agree. So, Sean, you want to announce what our next Let's Play is going to be?
What is our next Let's Play going to be, Jonathan?
Our next Let's Play series is going to be Super Mario 64.
Super Mario 64?
Another of the best games ever made.
Yes.
I'm going to be playing that one. You're going to be in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'll be the one making the terrible puns and making Jonathan pause the game and stop playing it. So join us next time for some Super Mario 64! Woohoo!